Hello! Hello, everyone! Happy Thursday! Happy Thursday! I hope you're all ready to join me as we dye some yarn. Hi, everyone. I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and tonight we are going to dye some yarn inspired by this cozy photo. Although, actually, I suppose if I had a book open and a bunch of leaves and stuff were on top of it, maybe I would get annoyed. But cozy because I'm thinking about curling up with a book and maybe taking a nap or something like that. So I am very, very excited. Now, what is the Chemnitz Dye-Along? Every month around the 15th or a little bit later, like today, I pick a new inspiration photo to share. And then in a live stream, I will make my own interpretation of the yarn inspired by this photo. And I invite all of you to dye along at home as well. And if you would like your dyeing projects to be featured in the recap that I'll post in the middle of September, just share your yarn inspired by this photo on Instagram using the hashtag ChemKnitsDyeAlong, or on the ChemKnits Facebook page, which is just facebook.com/ChemKnits. This will be the pinned photo, reply with a photo comment, and I'll pick as many as I can to feature in the recap. I did have a question, I think yesterday, about what the deadline for submissions are. And really, the deadline is when I pull the pictures to edit the recap. Usually, I would say if you make your submissions by the 10th of the month, you are completely safe to getting them in on time. I would say I'm usually trying to get the recap up between the 10th and the 20th, approximately. But hello, hello. Ooh, 7 a.m. I saw that there was a 1 a.m. higher up. It's all over time of the world time-wise. Welcome, welcome everyone. Oh, I am so excited. So many of you know, and I have a cord. There. Let's get back in focus. Hello camera, I'm right here. There we go. Many of you know that I love to dye yarn in deep saturated colors. I love neons, I love brights, and I wanted to challenge myself because one of the goals of these dye-alongs is to push me outside of my purple and blue comfort zone. Although I do pick purple and blue from time to time, I try to mix it up, warm tones, cool tones, and something that is more neutral. But I hope that this photo is both neutral leaning, but has some nice shades that I think it can work for people who want to go bigger. Don't forget, you can pick any aspect of the photo that you want. You can focus just on the words on the page and do something super neutral with some subtle black speckles, or you could go more for maybe that journal cover in the middle and play with the browns and green and orange that you see. It's really up to you. And I love doing this because I think that everyone has such a different or similar take. It's really fun to see the variation that we get when we are all looking at one photo. 9 a.m. woohoo! I try to do the dye-along streams in the evening Eastern time where I am. Even though I am more on my game in the morning. Hello, hello. Oh, let me change this so I can make sure I can see all of the chat. Yes, I am ready for some fun. Now, I'm trying to think if I have any other announcements. Oh, I just had a shop restock. And actually, I did not set this up yet. Oh, funny, I still have that there. Window. All right, so I just updated my Etsy shop, and I just wanted to show you guys something. So if you want to see the yarn from any past live streams,
all you have to do is search for Chemnitz Dialong, and then you can see here's some of the watermelon yarn. This was another neutral, I think like some flagstones that we did a few years ago. And we have some little bits. I think this might have been hummingbird. Let's see. Some flamingo yarn. I'm not sure if that was from Chemnitz Dialong. Some blue jay. And this was even a mandarin duck, I think. Cherry blossoms. So you can find all those with that search term. Or I try to have it set up, maybe not for every inspiration, but for example, if you search for watermelon, all of the yarn that is left from last month's Dialong shows up. So I still have, I think, one of the neon zebra skeins and a few more. Oh, the seedless isn't showing up. Well, that's too bad. Well, there's also seedless. I don't know why that one's not showing up. But anyway, I wanted to show you all that.
And let me see. I'm actually going to try to fix that. I love the name Seedless for my other watermelon. I still have 3 of Seedless left. The mini skein sets all sold out. Oh, I already have that in there. Okay. All right, I've updated Seedless, so that should show up as well. But I did just restock the shop, and so there's a lot of new stuff. And shopping in my Etsy shop is a really great way to help support the content here. You can get some pretty hand-dyed yarn and support the channel at the same time. And, well, make sure you're subscribed, because subscribing and giving the videos a thumbs up is the biggest way that you can help support the content. Let's see. For you, the challenge is to leave enough white. Oh no! Oh, Patty, I hope everything will be okay. Oh, I have some friends out in California, and when it gets really smoky, that's really, really hard. But I think I am now going to show some of my color thoughts, if I can find. All right, I may have to adjust some camera settings. I tried to bring in some extra light tonight. But I did pull some acid dyes that I thought may work pretty well. We have a few colors that we can pull from, and I am excited. So let me go over here. Hello. You love your watermelon mini set? I might need to do that one again. I absolutely love how that turned out. Loved how that turned out. Good night, boyos. I love you.
Me too.
That's fine. You don't need to tell the internet. All right, so.
I'm done.
Hey, Lucas. Guys. I think we're having one of those mom life moments. All right, so the colors that I've pulled, the ones that I'm pretty sure I'm going to use are True Black, Pecan Brown, and Saffron Spice. I feel like I'm mostly going to deal with a white base, at least for the first version. This is what we'll try, a white base, and then I am going to use some citric acid speckles on it, and some of the color may spread. So we'll have some sharp speckles, but we also might have some pastel spread, which depending on the colors might give us some of that brown feel. If I need to, I can bring in some sand dune. It may not be quite yellow enough, but maybe if I mix a little bit of orange into it, that will help. And then I'm a little undecided with the greens. So the problem is that sage leaf, like the color of the paint swatch is like that one leaf that is really small in the middle on the left. Looks like sage leaf would be a really, really good fit. But sage leaf breaks and can be more blue than what I want. Forest green might be a little deep. And moss might be, I'm trying to think, moss might break and be a little brown. Moss could be okay. So I could always go, I have a pretty wide collection of Dharma acid dyes that I can pull from. But I think one thing I also want to play with tonight is mixing the powders with the citric acid a little bit. Because when you're doing that, and actually I'll sit back down. All right, so when we are dealing with citric acid powder and are mixing dyes with it, you sometimes will see some breaking with your speckling. But because I think the dyes kind of stick to the citric acid crystals, you do get some blending of the colors a little bit. Not entirely, you'll still get some breaking there, but from doing this before, I was surprised that I wasn't seeing as many multicolors as I was expecting. And so I think that we will still see some of both colors, but also a little bit more of a blend. So I think we're going to play a little bit with all of that. And that is my plan for tonight. So I hope that that sounds exciting. But the other notes is, since I'm using commercial acid dyes, all of the tools and equipment that I'm using tonight are dedicated for dyeing yarn and are never used for the preparation of food. So all of my dye pans, all of the spoons, everything like that that I'm using is dedicated for dyeing yarn only. And whenever we are dealing with the dry dye powders, I will be wearing a respirator mask, safety glasses, and gloves. And I am going to use containers tonight that I have covers I can put on. So that way, when I am not actively speckling and stuff, I can cover the citric acid powder mixes and then sit down and chat and have a mask break. So I hope that that makes sense. And yeah, as along the way, feel free to ask me questions. I have an iPad set up so that way I can see the chat when I'm at the countertop. So please, if the audio disappears or a camera freezes, please let me know in the chat. Very, very important. But yeah, let's get started. One of these days I'll have one of those fancy stream decks so I can just push a button versus trying to remember. I feel all out of practice. So I don't know if you noticed the song that I had playing at the beginning, which should be playing on my mute screen as well tonight. That is actually a song that Keith wrote for me, and I walked down the aisle to it. Oh, and that was a spider. Well, I did not scream at a spider on live TV. So, mainly because I thought it was dead, and then it was not dead. Hello. All right. Now, one problem I do have, did this freeze? Oh no, I see the gloves now. One problem I do have when I'm doing things like this is that I tend to mix up too much of these dye mixtures. I know there's worse problems to have, but that is something that I struggle with a little bit. And actually, let's go ahead and set up a yarn mop right now. If you are new to the channel, what is a yarn mop? A yarn mop is a skein of yarn that I use to wipe my hands with excess dye, sometimes to test colors, and it's something that I have on hand and use over and over with less intent. And so this is some stroll that has pre-soaked for a while. Ooh, I'm gonna need more vinegar. Whoop. And a splash of vinegar there. Uh-oh. I might be changing some, no. Oh, I have, okay. I just ordered some more vinegar for tomorrow. I have a whole other one. I was like, there's no way I am completely out of vinegar right when I'm live streaming. Yeah, when, I guess another fun fact, most of the music that I use in my videos when I use music is from Keith's band that he was in with some of our really, really good friends while we were in grad school. You know, back when we all had a lot of time. Oh, man. Unfortunately, they don't have a band website anymore, but yeah, they were called Free Parking. And if you're a super sleuth, you might find some videos. Okay. Hello! Wow, we've got like Australia, Europe, Chile, awesome, and the US. Oh, this is totally right by where I have, let's see. Move you up there. Okay, so I can still see it. Aha, and yes, I could go find, like, I have a little, like, container of citric acid down here. I just have a tiny one, but I'm sure, yes, I definitely have citric acid in the house. And I also have lime juice and apple cider vinegar. So if I needed to get creative, we could get creative tonight. Now, I have this yarn mop in this aluminum pan, and I really like using these for mops or to hold warm yarn. But I don't use them really for heat setting or anything because eventually acid will eat away at the aluminum and you start to get holes because they're flimsy, but they are recyclable. So there is that. All right, I'm going to get my mask and glasses. Oh, and I need spoons. Let's do this in a decent order. I should have all of the tools and equipment and yarn I'm using linked down below. This is my respirator mask and my safety glasses. The mask I use is the deluxe rubber respirator from Dharma Training Company. That is not an affiliate link, but I do have affiliate links with Knit Picks and Amazon for some of the other stuff that I use. I'll need you. 4. Okay, have this for dirty things. Hello from Oklahoma and Quebec, yay! Okay, respirator. In Utah, man, I wonder sometime how many different states we have. Okay, so if that is too far, okay, let's move you more here and move that there. I think that will be good. So I am going to be more muffled whenever I have my respirator mask on. So if you guys would help me and let other people in the chat know that I have a respirator, that would be fantastic. Sometimes for videos, I start with like a tablespoon of citric acid. That's always way too much. So we're going to do less. The reason why I am mixing dyes with citric acid is that there's some dust. The reason why I'm mixing the dyes with some citric acid, and I'm just sort of doing random little pours of it. But the citric acid dilutes the dyes a little bit. And what that allows us to do is to add less of the dye at a time. So when you take a big pinch and you add it on, there's less actual pigment that you're adding on. So we're basically, we're actually diluting the dye. Oh, can someone tell me if you can dye a pair of socks already knitted? Yes, you absolutely can. You absolutely can. I think the closest things I have to that is I have a video where I dyed a knit shawl before, but also I dye sock blanks, which I then unravel, but you could dye the intact sock as well. Okay. Yeah, I am in Massachusetts, if anyone is curious. Okay, so odds are I will overdo it with the amount of color that I'm using. I'm taking just this tip of black, adding it here, and I actually think, I have no idea if this will do anything. Oh no, I'm gonna add a little bit of brown there. A little bit of brown. A little bit of brown. And see, I had that little itty bitty spill of some dye. I'm gonna take that yarn mop and wipe that on up. That's why we have that. Leave no dye behind. Oh, it's my pleasure. It's half the fun of these live streams is that I can share stuff real time. Okay. I likely will lose track of which color is which as we go. Okay, so this one has more brown. That has a little less. Let's use some saffron spice. And I'm going to take a little tip and mix it with this brown. Because I'm okay if we have a combination orange speckles and brown speckles in there. And we can always add more pigments to this. And to this brown, let's try. And if I don't like the color, I can always come back. I'm going to add a little bit of sage. I'm going to make it so that this is really hard for me to reproduce. A little bit of sage. And to remind myself, I mean, that actually might be spot on. So let's also add a tiny bit of some moss. Even before I test it, I'm going big. Although this doesn't look very dark, so maybe not big enough. All right, I am going to test these three colors by taking a little bit. Okay, so that's the green. Here's my orange. Ooh. And here is my black. And I will sit here and be really, really quiet for a minute. As I'm letting these colors sink in. But I think that they're doing what I want them to do. And I like having like some brown speckles like intermixed with that orange and with that green. I really, really like that. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to start with these three colors. And I will, in a minute, take a picture to share on Instagram. So I'm going to save this so we can make something else later on. And I can always start speckling straight with the black powder, but I will take a picture and post it on Instagram so you guys can see, because I think that it's really, really tiny. I don't know If I hold it here, if you can see, I'll take a picture in just a moment, but you can see that I've covered these up. Washing off my gloves. I'm a wonderful teacher. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I try. I try. All right. Whew. Okay, and so let me get my phone, because I have a phone. So I would say of course I'm trying to not get in the shadow. Of them, the green. No, I don't want a single take. No, I don't like that. Okay, in your phone app, if your phone ever tries to do one of those single take things, I'm like, no, I just want. Okay, so now the green is actually looking less green to me. There are definitely some green hints. But let me add these to my stories. So that way you can all see. And on Instagram, I'm just /ChemKnits. Feed stories. So let's see. True Black. And done. True Black and Become Brown. Pecan Brown and Sage Leaf, Moss Green. And I'm going to copy this. Send to my stories. I hope that worked. No. Did it? I don't know if it worked. I don't know if it worked. I was like, I'm going to label it and be all awesome. Did it do it? That's me. Yes, it did. Okay. Let's do another story, and this is a close-up. Second one is a close-up of the greens. Which maybe, honestly, is not a bad thing. Maybe it's not a bad thing that you can barely see the greens there. So I can try to pull that up later on, but those are the colors that we are dealing with today. Actually, let me see if I have no idea how quickly they will upload. Downloads. Okay. Because I can add an image. In this roundabout way. Okay. So here we go. So here are the black with a little bit of brown. You don't really see the brown in there, except for me, because my last name's Brown. You do see both brown and orange speckles where I mixed the saffron spice with the pecan brown there. The green looked a lot more green at first, but then as time went on here and in the second photo, you can barely see. I don't know if you can see the mouse. Probably not.
You can barely see some of those hints of green, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. So I think that it is actually pretty good because even if that is our brownish color for now, excuse me. Nope, I don't know what I was moving. I want to move you. Nope. Image. Let's move you. Yeah, so even if that's our brown, it does feel very distinct from our black that has a little bit of brown. I did add pecan brown to all of them. I don't know. I was feeling it. So I think that is working pretty well.
But you guys can always let me know what you think along the way. You love the orange? Yeah, it's really, really pretty. Where do I find my inspiration photos? That is a very good question. I use like royalty-free stock image sites like Speckles and Unsplash, and I search there based on, sometimes I have an idea or a color I want. Sometimes I just search for like colorful and see what comes up. Other times I'm like, ooh, I really want, well, there's some things I haven't done yet, but sometimes I look for just like birds or fish or animals and see what strikes my eye. But this time I wanted something like fairly neutral, so I was looking for libraries and books and things like that. And I actually had another photo, but then I wasn't sure what all the text said, and here the text is pretty blurred, so and it's not in English, but I was like, I can't read it, and so therefore I was like, I don't want to have text that is like somehow explicit in another language or something and not know. So the green looks like branches. Oh, awesome. Thank you. But yeah, so I find my inspiration photos on those sites. Occasionally, the inspiration photo is something that I took myself. Actually a handful, like there was an aquarium one, some different flowers. Sometimes I pick things that are significant to me in my real life. So I try to mix it up, just like I try to mix up the tones and saturation and stuff as well. And also the technique. And so this to me screamed Speckles. So that's what we are going to do. And nope. Here we go. Now we need to see, and it'll take me a moment, but the audio on that camera is still working. It'll take a minute to see if this is actually, oh no, that's my fault. I had the iPad plugged in and to like an external battery, and I forgot, and I just threw that on the floor. Whoops. Okay. Good. The camera's still working. This camera right here is notorious for freezing. So that is something that is always worth paying attention to. And so scream at me in the chat if all of a sudden you see like no more bubbles once it's heating up. All right, so let's get, nope, that looks not like, huh? That doesn't look like straw. Oh no, that is just floor. No, I am, oh, okay, this one is straw. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes the problem with having multiple yarn bases in a bucket pre-soaking without having like any real reason about it, like if I have things pre-soaked but I'm not paying a lot of attention, then that can be hard. Okay, that's good. Yes, so we'll see how much negative space we end up keeping. But something that I played with in my celebration live stream was actually twisting the yarn for the application of Speckles, and I really, really enjoyed the results. But there I was using colors where I had more spread than what we will presumably have here. So we'll see. I could almost, I don't really want to crowd the pan. I almost could fit a 5th skein in here. But I also don't mind if we end up with some pastel spread. So I think I'm going to leave this do its thing. And let's I'm gonna get some water. Oh, on the money. All right, so here I have 4 cups of tap water that has 2 tablespoons of white vinegar in it. Now, when we add the dye on, the dye is already mixed with citric acid powder, which will also help the colors strike. But I do want some acid in here, and I think I want, see, here's the thing. I don't want there to be too much liquid because I want some spread, but not like a lot of spread. But I'm not that comfortable turning on the heat when like I move the yarn to the side and I see no liquid there. So let's get more water. Okay, so I have 4 cups of water here. I don't think I'm going to use all of it, but we'll see. Although I suppose 400 grams of yarn in like 8 cups isn't that bad. Okay, because now when I move it, there is some water here, and that makes me feel, better. So let's see. I'm going to add a tiny bit more. I feel like there's space to do it. But yeah, negative space, photos and yarn. I feel like, and if there's too much water, some of it will kind of come off. All right. I feel like with a lot of this stuff, I feel like with a lot of these like projects, one thing that is really important is if you want white space, to make sure you leave enough white space, or if you don't want white space, make sure you cover enough of the white space. A cedar, you know, I'm a little bit torn on that, whether or not, Patty, on whether or not a steamer insert for the pan would help. There's certain applications where it would for sure. But when I'm speckling, I don't like a lot of steam present because when this gets really steamy, I will then reduce the heat so that way we have less steam on the surface, because then your fingers get really moist. And so then it makes the dye stick to your gloved fingers rather than going on the yarn. So that is that. Okay, that's heating up quickly. And I feel like there was something else on my mind. Oh, I can do this. Make this smaller. Make my head smaller. My mouse is all the way on the floor. Actually, image. I want to just be able to see it. What am I looking there? Haha. And yes, when I switch different scenes, sometimes the audio switches sites around the room. But since I've been live for a little bit, it's another time for me to say, please make sure you are subscribed to the ChemKnits Tutorials YouTube channel and give this video a thumbs up, please, if you enjoy it. What was I? There was something that I felt like I needed to like either look up or something, but I don't remember now. Let me make sure. Yeah, but I have, we were in the middle of like, we just haven't done it yet. We have some new shelves we were going to put up in the mudroom so that way I could try to store some of the dye pans in there without having them stacked too much, and then maybe I would have space for more pans, which means I could buy more pans. But I still don't have like a cooling rack, so I'm not sure how much good that would really do. Moonbee is a beautiful name. But, We are nice and hot. So let's go back to the stove. And, oh, I know what I was going to talk about. My oven broke. So that was one of the delays that happened this month. And why the stream is like now instead of like Monday is the oven broke. And so I was waiting for the repair, which got pushed back. So the range works. Oh, Bernadette, thank you so much for the super chat. Bernadette Crum, thank you so much. If any of you are curious, there's like a little $sign in the chat and it can make your message or something pop up nice and big. That is so good. Thank you. But yeah, so the oven broke. And hopefully now on Monday, I can get a repair of it. But it is unfortunate and makes me sad because I realize how much I depend on baking for my day-to-day life. All right. Okay, let's start. Even though this is one of the colors I don't want as much of, let's start. So I'm grabbing a reasonable pinch of the citric acid powder, and then I'm dusting it on like you would salt. And if I took, I think the pinch is maybe like this big. Hopefully you guys could see that. If I took nearly that much of a pinch when I was dealing with just a straight powder, you would see way more color. And so I think that the color that we see is way more subtle. And I think that somehow, all right, I am definitely getting both green and brown speckles in there. That is perfect. So sometimes when I've tried mixing together speckle colors, I've had things like it would be too purple. I wasn't seeing just the pink and the blue that I really wanted. But this is doing what I want, and that is really nice. It's funny to like go at like little angles. I'm doing the orange now with this when like I have the yarn twisted up. So I feel like I almost should be going more like up and down a little bit, but I think it is fun. And I'm coming in before I do the black, because the black is going to stand out more. And I'm adding some little spots of color for each of them that don't go all the way across, because I want there still to be a randomness to the way that the colors go. And since I'm mixing the citric acid powder, I'm not wiping off my gloves in between changing colors. And this is gorgeous on its own. Actually, I'm going to wait and I'm going to take a photo before I do the black, because it's so pretty. And I don't think you can really see it very much on camera. So at my next break, I will post these on my stories. So this is doing just what I wanted it to. I think when I'm dealing with the dye powdering containers, I don't want to dip from one color and then go into another. But when I have it mixed with citric acid powder, it's okay. All right, and it's okay to leave some white space, Rebecca. But I'm also going fairly heavy, but you have to remember things are twisted, so therefore there will be white space. We're not seeing like a length of yarn. It's twisted and we have various spots. But, oh, this is so fun. Probably super subtle for all of you. And I do have, again, the yarn mop that I am going to continue wiping hands on throughout this. So now what I want to do is wait. I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit again, but mostly we are going to wait to give this a chance to set. And some of the colors are spreading a little bit, which is totally fine. Let's wait for about 10 minutes. And I see lots of comments that I'm about to come check out. Okay. And I have more water on hand in case I'm afraid it's getting a little low. But I'm also going to grab, oh, I should have done that before it got steamy. Grab another photo. Cool. Part of me almost wishes that I went for brown instead of black because of how that contrast, but I don't think I'm going to adjust it now. I don't think I'm going to adjust it this second, but let me see. Let me post these pictures to my stories, and then so that, and then this, and then this. Okay. So I just posted all those to my Instagram stories, and let me just drop my Instagram. Oh wait, would this work? Oh wait. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so here we are with just the brown and the orange. And then here we are now with the black. And so you can see that some of those black speckles are spreading out a fair amount. And yeah, here you can really see some of those little bits of like an olivey green, but it doesn't really show up. And then there are those speckles I showed at the beginning. Awesome. Awesome. And here's our inspiration photo. But so this, there we go. And I'm popping it into the chat. All right, let me see. Hello, hello. You need to come up with a more effective storage for your dye stuff. It gets really frustrating. Yeah. So I currently have like dye stocks underneath a bathroom sink in my like studio office space, which is mostly just full of yarn, and I don't actually work in there very much except to film occasional talking heads. That's where I keep the dry dye powder, so they are away from any liquid, but sealed in secondary containers. I have yarn everywhere. Yarn everywhere around the house. And then pans like in a corner in the kitchen. Because I usually, like, they go in the mudroom or the shed, but I only want to put them in there once they're dry. But once they're dry, then I'm using them again. So there is that. Your oven broke at the beginning of the pandemic shutdown last year. Our garbage disposal broke at the beginning of the shutdown. And I just fixed it last week. And by me fixing it, a plumber fixed it. We got a new one. It's good. It works, and it's really quiet. So yeah, with the oven being broken, it's like an ignition problem. So the range is still working fine. We hope, but so we'll find out. There's a chance that we might have to like if they can't fix it because it's potentially pretty old. I don't have a year for it. It was here when we bought the house. there's a chance we might have to replace it, which means then I might be without even a stovetop. And so that was why I didn't know when I could schedule the stream. Set an oven replace. Oof. Can I mix icing dye with citric acid to speckle? Yes, actually. So I have some video crochet of some DIY sprinkles, and in one of them I mixed sugar with liquid food coloring. In another one, did I just do violet with citric acid, or did I do violet with sugar? I don't remember if I've done both. In one of them, I've done both sugar and citric acid. The sugar worked a little bit better because the crystals were a little bit bigger. But I do have some chunky citric acid that I haven't pulled out yet to try for that as well. So it did work. But I would just look up at any like make your own sugar sprinkles kind of tutorial, and doing that with icing color would then work basically for speckling. The black, yes, the black does represent the letters, but looking at the picture small, the brown, orange, and green sort of scream more to me. So, yes, it is supposed to be mostly like, yeah, it's fine. It's totally fine. So I've done a few. I've done, with dye powders, I did sugar versus salt versus citric acid. I do have a video on that as well. So mixing dye powders with each of those. And the reason why I did that experiment was that you don't necessarily want to use citric acid powder when you're dyeing yarn with stellina in it. Too much acid and heat can cause stellina to dull. And actually, I didn't place the order, but I plan to order some stellina-based yarn to see if I can dull it on purpose, which I'm not excited about, but I'm buying micro skeins, so that way I can try to destroy only 10 grams. And so therefore, if I'm going to speckle on a sparkle yarn, I prefer to mix with sugar to dilute the dyes, because if you use citric acid, it can get too acidic in a local area. And with vinegar, you can't really get it as too acidic because the vinegar is already diluted. Oh gosh, dyeing acrylic is difficult. So yeah, I did do sugar and salt once. But I think with food coloring, I've only done sugar and then citric acid. I haven't tried making my own DIY sprinkles using acid dye liquid and putting that on sprinkles, because I'm like, ooh, that could be a way to make like a pastel speckle, potentially. Like, because if you have the dye dissolved, depends on like how really tiny one dye particle is. I don't know. So yeah, those are different things that I have tried. And so there's another question I've been getting a lot lately, although I have no idea if the timer is about to go off. And there's another question about whether or not something's happening this year. And yes, it will be happening. And stay tuned, there will be an announcement about Hanukkah soon. Basically, Etsy is launching this new way to rate sellers. And so therefore now you will be penalized for not shipping things on time. So therefore, I am trying to launch the pre-orders for the Hanukkah samplers at a time where I can be within the shipping window that they will let me set, which is a little irksome. Although watch, now I'll go and figure out that there was a month's option that I was missing. And if I discover that, then that'll be sad. But the listing's not ready, so it's fine. But anyway, yeah, I have been basically since December 29th or something last year, I've been thinking about Hanukkah and thinking about what I wanted to do and put together. And so if you don't know what I'm talking about, every year I do a sampler every night of Hanukkah because I'm Jewish, and so you guys can celebrate with me. I release a new yarn dyeing video after sundown as a gift from me to all of you, but people can purchase samplers and have one to open up each night so you can feel, smell, knit, crochet with the yarn that I've dyed in each of the videos. And so it's not a fade set or anything. Some of the colors and techniques are random and vary, but it's more just to be fun and to give everyone a chance to, certainly they could all be used in a project because it's all the same base, but it's to give people an opportunity to swatch and play with different types of colorways to then figure out what types you enjoy the most and what you might want to dye with the most. And then I also put together some fun extras. I'm really excited, really excited with some of the things I've come up with this year. And so, yeah, it's a lot of fun. All right. If anyone's curious, this camera right here, she's called Tennis Ball. But actually, I want to see. I don't know if she froze. Where's a metal spoon? Aha. Okay, she's still working. All right, now I'm going to press down and see. But everything looks pretty well set. And it's amazing how, like, the green, ooh, there we have some bright green, but the green is so much more subtle, which I love. I love. All right, I think what I want to do is, oh dear. Where are my tongs? Oh. You know, I said I have containers of drying yarn everywhere. That is accurate. Oh, yeah, I wish we don't have space. Well, we technically have a shed, but like it wouldn't work. It potentially could work for dyeing, but it certainly wouldn't work for filming. And so I know I have an added, oh dear. No, I want you to flip over. So I'm not retwisting yet. Certainly I'm like wiggling the yarn, but I am flipping it. And I think having the twist is going to help me keep things like from getting too intense. Oh dear. So I am pretty excited about that. I'm sure I will need to flip this multiple times, but I'm pretty happy with it. Okay. But actually, I would, it's not that hot. I would poke with my hands, although actually, don't touch hot things with your hands. Use a tool. But I don't want to get my gloves too wet. All right, I'm going to mask on. Whew. Okay. Molly, I don't know. I've never tried that, actually. That's certainly something for me to hopefully remember for next year because, yeah. Although I suppose, I mean, knowing the deadlines and stuff, I wasn't ready to go yet. So it's okay. I'm still finalizing things like the bonus, like any add-on skeins and whatnot. Okay, Rebecca, remember, you're going for subtle. As I'm like Let's dump all the powder. When I sit down, I'll check and see. But yeah, they're now gonna rate sellers based on like our orders on time, how quickly do we respond to messages and things like that, which I'm like, oh, I try to respond promptly, but it's still nerve-wracking when they're like, we're going to try something. I'm not really using the yarn mop as much as I thought I would. Let's see. Coming in with the black now. Very, Yeah, I guess it makes more sense to think of it like salt versus sugar. Although I'm a little bad and really like salt. So I tend to, but these days I use like a salt grinder. So, yep, okay. So yeah, if I had a different setup and I had multiple cans, I could go boom, 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 up and down. I still don't know how people manage to dye hundreds of skeins in a day. That is not something that I have done. I think that like, like 16 or something feels like, oh, maybe I've done 20. I'm not sure. But now we're going to set another timer for 10 minutes. I'm not sure how many different colorways I'm going to do tonight because honestly, I'm tired. Oh, we've had like a week, a good week. A good week where I've laughed harder than I think I've laughed in like a long time. But yeah, we had our, oh, nope, there. We had our best friend come and stay with us for like about half a week, and it was like the mental health break that like I think we'd both been needing, and so we just like laughed and laughed, and it was wonderful. And so it was a shame his whole family couldn't come, but yeah, I mean, we're not putting the kids on airplanes right now either, so but it was just wonderful, and I feel like we just needed that so desperately. So Etsy's making a lot of awful decisions without consulting its vendors. Yeah, I think that Etsy's customers, they don't consider their vendors their customers. I think that they consider I think that they consider the like customers the customers. Let's see. And I don't know if you're watching. I see I have a message from someone. I hope if I don't get to it tonight, I'll get to it in the morning or reply about something. Let's see. Drafts. Because edit shipping profile, custom range. Yeah, because the processing time, the biggest range it lets me do is 8 to 10 weeks. But I wonder if I do, let's do a, let's call this test. about this listing. Made to order. Edit. Yeah, if I do custom, it didn't let me do anything bigger, which is unfortunate. I was hoping that that would work. So, yeah. Beth, there's no official Hanukkah announcement yet. The only Hanukkah announcement is that an announcement is coming. That's as far as I've gotten. But yeah, one big reason that I've waited a little longer is that I want to make sure that that I'm within the window for within the window for my estimated shipping date, with a little bit of wiggle room, so that way I don't have over 100 orders that are late and then lose my star seller status, which hasn't been launched yet, but I'm on target. Thanks to all of you for giving me such good reviews. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, but there was a point where one year Etsy, when they were like, "Ooh, we're gonna do a commercial," and everyone's like, "Oh, exciting!" And then the commercial is like trying to convince more people to sell on Etsy, which I have no problem. I fully encourage anyone who wants to set up an Etsy shop to set it up. I think it is a great way to set up a shop for handmade items that doesn't require as much commitment as setting up and maintaining your own website. I mean, I'm still there, but the other reason why I'm still there is that there are many other back-end perks that are really, really great that I think Shopify, which is probably where I would switch to, but certain things like, Etsy will collect and pay taxes for the UK and for Australia and for other states in the United States. Whereas if I was on Shopify, I might have to do that myself, which sounds daunting. So I would need a lot more help. And so that's one reason why I have not transitioned to my own website. But who knows, maybe that dream will come forward. I feel like there's big projects. I'm like, ooh, I really wanted to make a database of all my videos, and I had people willing to help when I crowdsourced the data collection. But then the service I was going to use, that I had it all set up and I was ready to go, I discovered that after 500 lifetime views, not monthly views would be okay, but after 500 lifetime views, then they want you to pay $30 a month, which for something that probably would not get 500 views a month, that wouldn't, okay, I think I did set a timer, something that wouldn't get that a lot of views, that just felt very expensive. And so I was like, I need to figure out another solution. So that's something else that got put on the back burner when I had less time. So, but if you are a ChemKnits patron, there are certain tiers where you get advance notice of ChemKnits Creations Shop restocks, and so you will find out first, and then the post will be live for all patrons when things go live, and so patrons will know when everything goes up, and then I will shortly thereafter start announcing on social media. So I will announce the Hanukkah samplers on Instagram, Facebook. I will schedule a YouTube video that for a live stream announcement of some kind. So it'll be very, very apparent. Yeah. Sandy, I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure how the whole VAT and stuff collection works now with Etsy for friends over in Europe. I don't really know. I know that I have so many listings. I've been trying to go through and put like tariff numbers and stuff in. I'm not, and I'm honestly not sure how that works. I know that Etsy is handling that on behalf of um, like its sellers, which is nice. So that means I don't have to worry. And since like because of like in the U.S. because of Nexus laws, once Massachusetts, well, in Massachusetts, yarn is not taxed. Yarn that could be used for clothing is not taxed. Yarn that could be used for rugs would be taxed. So, well, yarn isn't used for rugs. It's intended for clothing. Yeah, so like yarn, I mean, in general, like yarn in like yarn at big craft stores isn't taxed in Massachusetts, but like other things like stitch markers are. So yeah, yeah, but I mean it's the VAT calculations and stuff. That's not Etsy's fault. That's like the law for like I forget if it's just EU or if it's EU and UK. I think Australia already did that a while ago. Because I remember Ravelry had something where they needed to start collecting VAT for pattern sales. And so occasionally I have some bills. I don't sell a lot of patterns. I know some people can't access Ravelry right now, so all of my designs that are for sale, I also have available on Ravelry, which is just like one collection and then 2 other individual patterns. So I do have those there as PDF downloads. But Dawn Jans, thank you so much for the super chat and a fist bump to you too. I like that little dancing guy. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I remember when I was in college, I was like, ooh, there's no tax on clothing. I think it's because there's no tax on clothing in Massachusetts. There's tax on a lot of other stuff, but not on clothing. So I know that this is a stream where we have long periods of waiting in between short. We can go back to this to the yarn now. In between short periods of speckling, but I mean that is often. I love that orange. I think mixing it with some brown. Okay. I like my little hack of sticking the spoon in to see if things are working. All right, and now I'm gonna open one of these up and see. I mean, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, and the coverage is not nearly as dense as it maybe would be. So let's try. I think that it's hard now. Okay, I'm mostly seeing white. So I don't want to get it too heavy. I really like the coverage that I have so far. So what I'm doing now is at the zip tie. And I love removable nylon zip ties. My one note on them is if you're ordering through the links that I have to Amazon, just check that it's still removable because Amazon likes to replace the listings on me. I feel like my attempts to get this inside out didn't quite work the way I wanted, but I can like pinch and move the fibers so I get less coverage. Less coverage, different coverage. But I don't know, twisting is fun. Trying to get new areas as much as possible. Ooh, I saw a rogue blue speckle. This is so fun. I think I am like a fan of twisting up my skeins now, just in general. I think that well, I think that the added benefit of it is really, really great. All right, I'm gonna put my mask back on. Do I think black sprinkles would work for Speckles? The black sugar sprinkles work really, really well. I have a number of videos, although they do end up being kind of purplish. They aren't quite pigmented enough to give something that's this black, but they can work. Yeah, the reusable nylon zip ties are great. I have had some decent luck with the black sprinkles looking a little bit gray, at least. But that's a really good point. To participate in these dye-alongs, you do not have to use the same colors, the same techniques that I do. You are welcome to use whatever you'd like. But I just have to say, these twisted skeins are doing numbers for me. Because, like, I am not adding it too heavy. I'm getting good coverage. I feel like a lot of the time when I dye yarn, I feel like I have to flip it like 6 times to get the coverage I want with Speckles. And I'm really trying to embrace some negative space here. And these are all definitely not going to be identical. Not by a long stretch, but I think the next round I might have them untwisted and really try to investigate where I think I might need more color. I love that there's this one like rogue blue speckle that I have no idea why it's there or where it came from. Okay. So I love that I can just sort of speckle down the vertical because the yarn's all crossing this way a bit. It's fun and different. I'm totally going to need to make a dye pot weekly on this. I may be going a little heavier. I hope I don't regret this, but at least like with it twisted, hopefully I'm okay. I definitely need to do a dye pot weekly on this though. And our poor yarn mop has next to no color, but either it or something else will get to have more pigment. Ooh. I really wish I could do these at like 1. I feel like that would be an ideal time for me to stream. Okay, I'm going to set a timer for, that's too long, for 9 minutes. Turn up the heat. And I am going to add, no, there's plenty of liquid in there. I don't want to pour yarn on top, or yarn. I don't want to pour water on top and leave like space. But I'll turn it up for a minute, then reduce the heat, and then we'll add some liquid on it when we come back. Hi. All right, so the timer set. You've watched the Breaking Dye series, but you thought it might be an interesting experiment because the whole part of Speckles is to strike quickly. I I would say that for food coloring based speckling, Kool-Aid is one of, especially grape Kool-Aid, which is a pretty grayish purple. Kool-Aid is a really good thing for speckling. If you have high acid and you use sugar sprinkles, they can strike pretty quickly as well. I think there's like a Christmas cookie video that has loads of speckles. I have lots of different food and candy based speckles that I've done that work really well. So I'm actually going to go to a brief break. I'm going to send you to a commercial break, and I will be right back. I'm going to go drink some water and stuff, and then we'll come back before the timer's off. So leave any questions that you have for me in the chat. Hi, I'm back, but still listening to the music. And I can turn that off. You were hearing the music because I had it on the monitor for like what was actually live. So, but yes, as I said, so this track isn't the actual track that I walked down the aisle to. It was the track that Keith recorded to give to the acoustic guitarist who played while I walked down the aisle. If that makes sense. But Keith wrote it, so. Yeah, and so I'm like, oh, that's like a nice, like, calm instrumental. And it makes me smile. I don't think he's watching right now. He might be embarrassed if I say mushy stuff. So, and when I move too much, I get out of focus. I need to like make myself a tape, like, what do they call them in theater? Where you have the like marks. Is it just a mark on the ground where like that's where you go and you stop, and so then you know you're standing in the right place for like lights and stuff? That's what I needed. But yeah, what else is going on? We've got tomorrow's I guess Friday, so yeah, one more week of camp, and then a week and a half off, and then school starts. And then things might start to feel normal around here. I mean, it's technically they both have been in 5-day school since I think mid-April last year, but then they both had spring break, and they're at 2 different schools. Those weren't aligned, and so like yeah, they by the time that it happened, I was like, by the time I got used to having some kind of more regular schedule, then the school was over. And they both also had different half days, but this year, since Ryder's starting kindergarten, they are at the same school with the same schedule. And so I'm excited because camp only goes until about 1, so it makes streaming in the daytime pretty hard. Hello from Massachusetts! Well, I don't know where you are, Patricia, but I could float down the Charles and say hi. uh, but yeah, today we had some rain. It was pouring out. It was pouring. When I went next to the river to pick the kids up from camp, like part of the parking lot was flooded, and I was like, great. I have to drive through this. It wasn't that deep, thankfully, but I was like, this is fun. So yeah, that was a big part of the day. And otherwise, I've been doing a lot of editing lately. A lot of editing, sort of to like get some stuff on the schedule so then I can go in and film big for Hanukkah. And I'm really excited. I've started filming some vlog stuff. I'm gonna try to do a vlog. But yeah, I have some ideas for some like themes. So Hanukkah starts the Sunday after Thanksgiving this year. So it's pretty early. It's not technically a Thanksgiving-a that we had, I guess, 8 years ago, where I think the first night of Hanukkah was also on Thanksgiving Day. And so that was very exciting. That was Lucas's first Thanksgiving and Hanukkah, so it was a big deal. You're in Southern Mass? Okay. I'm in Metro West. And I think this counts as Metro West. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm like, I'm not sure if I want to do anything like Thanksgiving related tied in or not. But yeah, I have a few. The problem is I have enough ideas for more than one Hanukkah. So, which is not a bad place to be in. I just have to like decide because I'm like, there's not 20 nights. I need to narrow it down so that we still have variety and things like that. So it's fun. It's a few days after your birthday. Aw. My grandfather, his birthday was around Thanksgiving. So that's when we usually celebrated with him. So that's going to feel, I guess it'll feel weird this year because he just died in January. But he was a maker as well. He did a lot of stone cutting and polishing. And so he made a lot of like, not only did he cut like faceted stones for fine jewelry, but speaking of, I like lost the necklace community when I was 13. Either I put it somewhere safe or it fell in this abyss between. That's another story. I'm not going to get emotional about that. But he cuts faceted stones and also did like bolo ties. He always wore a bolo tie and a plaid shirt. So, nope. Cycling through. But yeah, so he was a maker. And actually, I have. So my parents just moved and they gave me 2 Afghans that my grandma made for my parents. And on one of them, I'm going to have to look through closely to see which one. One of the Afghans that my grandma, I think she crocheted them actually. I haven't checked closely, but one of them I have instructions for. So let's see. I'm now inspecting the skein and there are some areas of white, but like still it's not bad. I have to see how I'm going to do this. So what I'm looking for are any mega long white sections to just break it up a tiny bit. Oop, that one's warmer. And I'm very, very happy with this colorway. So this time things aren't twisted and I'm going to want to go light. I think the only one, oh, this one's pretty good. I think the only one that I might go a little bit heavier on is that green. And hello, Julia. Hi, Susie. Woohoo! Oh, my pleasure. I'm glad my links are helpful. And hello from France and everywhere. Am I planning a Black Friday knit pick sale video? Yes, with an asterisk. Because, and I'll talk about that when I sit down again. I mean, always. I always do a Black Friday blog post. Okay, Rebecca, light, sparing, go horizontal, across. No, you don't need much of this green/brown, but you love it. And yes, I am talking to myself. But that is what I do. I sit in a room and I talk to myself. Guys, I'm in a mood. I'm so happy to be dyeing yarn. I don't think I've dyed yarn for over a week. I'm gonna use a little orange. It's been a week. Because before our friend came, I dyed yarn right up until then. And then I stopped, and then I was waiting for the oven to be repaired, which it wasn't. And then, yeah. But I will have an exciting weekend coming up in a few weeks. So this weekend, it's going to be me and the kids, and Keith's going to have like a little break. Then Labor Day weekend, I think Keith's going to take the kids, and I am going to have my semi-annual craftcation. Woohoo! Oh shoot, I meant to add water first. Oh well. Not that big a deal. Not that big a deal. So that's too bad. My semi-annual craftcation. And if you're curious for some close-ups of what I've been doing, I do have pictures on my Instagram stories. And for my craftcation, I think I'm going to set up my rigid heddle loom and give that a go, because there's no time. Well, wrong camera. There's no time like having a few like blocks of time to yourself where you can binge Survivor and try to learn something new. And so that's when I've done a lot of like quilting in the past, or things that I would be allowed to dye yarn. I'm just not going to. I might film a little bit of a vlog of my first attempt with the rigid heddle loom. Oh dear. With the rigid heddle loom, mainly because I want to like have a diary of it. Whenever I do vlogs, it's always because I have things I want to remember, and so therefore film and share. And so that wouldn't count. If I do a vlog or post on Instagram or something, that's okay, that's allowed. But I'm not allowed to work on Dye Pot Weekly and things like that. So. Yeah, I'm glad that my boys also met my grandfather and were able to know him. My other grandfather lives nearby me, but we're still like, mostly just like dancing in front of his window and stuff, because since the kids aren't vaccinated yet, we don't want, we're being extra careful for him. So we have to tell you you're a crocheter, but you learned to knit 15 years ago, but haven't done it for like 13 years. You retaught yourself last week. Woo! Yeah, my plan is to start with coasters, because I feel like that gives me some space to like make mistakes and learn, and I can do a long warp and then like sort of space them out without rewarping in the middle. And I yeah, I think that should work, but we'll see. That is my plan for my mini vacation because, yeah, I'll order sushi. Very excited. I don't even remember what else I was talking about though. That's one of the problems, but I'm really enjoying the Speckling yarn. I know it's not the most like intense or riveting thing on camera, but sometimes creating something a little more quiet and neutral is really, really fun. Yeah, I guess both of I'm now blanking how old my grandmothers were. Both of them died within like 6 months of each other, right before I was pregnant with Lucas. And then, yeah, Grandpa was 96 and Papa is about to turn 90 in October. Yeah, so I will probably have like a my craftcation, like I'll have like a story highlight. I have some of those on my Instagram too from past years, which I probably have blog posts for the different quilts that I've done. And yeah, that was fun. I like sewing too. Time is hard, and when like, yeah. You guys understand. There's only so many hours a day and so many crafts that I want to do. Your Broken Wrist limited you on all projects. Aww. Yeah, a tapestry hook. I used to do like those like hook things when I was younger. Make your coasters in some feltable fiber. So even if they're uneven at first, they'll come out looking great. That's not a bad idea. I think I'm planning on using some yarn that the kids dyed for the coasters. Because then I'm like, haha, holiday gifts, stocking stuffers. We'll see how quickly it goes. One year, of course it was pre-pandemic, but I went and they had like community helpers and like we all talked about our jobs. So I brought in sugar sprinkles, yarn I had already soaked in vinegar, and had Lucas's pre-K class dye yarn. You know, I set them up at tables, let them cover the yarn in sprinkles, and then I crocheted coasters for all the teachers out of that for the end of the year that year. Different time, but yeah, I don't know, I'm excited for what's coming up. And no promises. There may also be some kind of special Halloween colorway. I haven't decided how I'm going to do it. If I would do like a video and then do dyed to order, or if I do a pre-order. Probably not a pre-order because I'm expecting that I will be shipping Hanukkah like around just before Halloween. But I had something I really wanted to do last year. And then, yeah, last year was last year. So I was like, okay, I put that on the burner. Could use up stash with a scarf loom. Yeah, I forget mine's like 15 or 16 inches wide, so I absolutely can do scarves and stuff. I'm very, very excited for that. And, there was a question about the Knit Picks big sale. Yes, I will likely do a big live stream to announce when it starts. Probably one when they have like their biggest. I usually try to announce when they have like a big discount because I am a stash enabler. I also am a Knit Picks affiliate link. I do have affiliate links to the Stroll, the 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon yarn base I'm dyeing today. But yeah, I wait and stock up in the big sale myself. And so I do like to go through the listings and say, okay, these are my picks for the best discount and things like that. The one thing is that in the past, I have had no advance notice of when the sale is starting or what's happening in it. Lately, I've had a little more information, about things that are about to happen and stuff. And so therefore that probably limits what I can do in terms of prediction. But what I can do, and what I absolutely will do, is as things happen, I will stalk the website, and as soon as anything is live, I always have a blog post where I keep track of each of the different like daily deals or however it is they're structuring it. So then we can compare it to past years and know, okay, historically there is a day with a lower minimum for free shipping, or historically there's a day with like a free yarn bowl or a free stitch marker. And so I kind of keep track that way. And so then I know when I want to place my big orders. And so I can predict that, and I just enjoy doing that. And I usually on Facebook update a lot with the day-to-day different things. So yeah, that, but yes, I will. The only way I wouldn't go live for Black Friday would be if I'm not at home. What did I do 2 years ago? I mean, I also could go live on location. So I don't remember what I've done in years when I wasn't at home. I'd have to go back and look. But historically with Knit Picks, their big sale usually starts a week or two before Thanksgiving. And so they have a big sale where they mark down like most of the website and things will be up to 60% off. And then like every couple days there'll be like a different special or promo or discount that you can take advantage of. And so I usually have a strategy of these things I save so that way I can get like whatever freebies there are, and I have like a whole strategy for shopping it. I take it seriously. And so no information that I get would affect that. So I can always share my strategy as a shopper. And then historically, so they have that. Historically, Black Friday, there will be a 20 or 25% off coupon. I'd have to go back and check. It's been a while. I haven't checked up on it in a while, but historically the biggest discount, site-wide discount of the year is Black Friday. And then usually after Black Friday through Saturday through Monday or Tuesday, there will be some kind of coupon, but usually it is not as big as the Black Friday one. So I think, and I'd have to check, and I have kept track of all this, I think Black Friday is bigger than Cyber Monday for Knit Picks. So, ooh. Paradise Fibers dyeing yarn versus Knit Picks. Paradise Fibers has lovely, lovely dyeing fiber. I haven't tracked their sales as closely as I've tracked Knit Picks, but I don't think I've purchased yarn myself from Paradise Fibers. I think in addition to the fiber, they sent me some of their yarn. I still have to film, it's on the list, I still have to film my review, like the full review that I want to do of their acid dyes. I'm hoping at the very least I should have that up late September. It depends on just how all the filming of everything shakes out. Things are, yeah, now we've got, I was like, okay, on Monday I'm gonna jump in on filming big, and now Monday/Tuesday is when oven repair is happening. So I can't film while I'm waiting for someone to come and repair the oven because I shouldn't have anything on the stove. And I did not set a timer, so I'm gonna stand up and go look at the yarn. But I can blabber on a lot. A lot. But yeah, I think I've been keeping track of the Knit Picks big sale for years now. I mean, I think this is pretty good. There's some areas that are a little bigger with some white, but I'm really happy. I don't mind if there's some rounds that have a lot more white. I think like I can obsess over quote balance a lot, and then realize when knitting, like I was like, ooh, this gorgeous like La Bien Aimée yarn is not like perfect. There's not every color on every round, and I'm still loving knitting with it, and I love what it did with my sweater. And so yeah. But I would say that this, just adding a bit more water, I'm going to add more acid. But I'm going to call this one done. It's funny how subtle this colorway is, and I am so proud of it. And I always need to remember that things feel deeper when they're wet, and it will feel a little paler when dry. I know it's fairly pale on screen. I am so proud of this, and really, really excited to do something with such a light hand, because it is just so different from what I usually do. So I've added more water, and I'm going to increase the temperature and heat for 20 minutes, then turn off the heat and let things cool off completely. I have the dye all covered, and I'm coming in with a steamer basket to set the mop that honestly doesn't really need, like, doesn't have very much color on it. All right, let's move you, iPad. Then I will show y'all. The yarn mop does not have very much color on it right now at all. I am going to pop it in a steamer basket to steam set, just to set that little bit of color on there. And then probably for the recap, I will dye more on it. Okay. Okay, so that is going to heat. And that's one of the perks of having the dye in, like, mixed with citric acid in containers I can use. And I even have one container that has plain citric acid. So I think oh, you can't really see. Okay, so in all those little containers up there, that's the dye. Excuse me. That's the dye. I keep closing it up when I come sit down, so that way there's no risk of knocking anything over or like it. Yeah, so it's nice and good. But yeah, I have more yarn that I pre-soaked, but I think I like this result so much. I think I might film me doing a version of it and me using up the rest of these leftover dyes on that yarn mop. I think I might film that for the recap and have a little bit of dyeing in there. Excuse me, because I really enjoyed how this came out and the process of it. And then I think it might be nice to see, like, more close up how things are looking. Even though I did have it on my Instagram. But I know that it feels odd that I've really only done one colorway tonight. But I think that sometimes I have ideas and plans for multiple colorways, and I did have a backup plan if I didn't love this, but I also knew that I would know if I didn't love this pretty quickly in the process. My other plan was to dye like a pale brown, and then speckle on top, on the countertop. Let's see. Nomad is usually too expensive for you, but they currently have a sale. Oh, nice. Good tip. Another good tip. I haven't ever ordered from Nomad, but I know a lot of people who do. So I can't, like, give an official, like, review or recommendation, but I know other people. All I can say is I know other people who have said that they've used it. I would say that most of the yarn that I dye comes from Knit Picks, Wool to Dye For, and then Dyer Supplier. And most of the yarn that I purchase is from Knit Picks and Wool to Dye For. And most of the unspun fiber I dye is from either Knit Picks or Paradise Fibers. So those have been my sources. But what do I have? I keep thinking like that there's something in there that I want to show, but I don't think there's anything in there that I can show because I think everything is top secret. Which is another reason why I like filming a vlog for Hanukkah, because I often will have so many things I'm working on that I am so excited to finally share and talk about, but I can't post any spoilers on social media because I want it to be a surprise when you get it and open it. But yeah, so you'll all be hearing from me soon about Hanukkah. So again, please make sure that you're subscribed to the ChemKnits Tutorials YouTube channel. And if you want to be featured in the dye along recap, all you need to do is dye some yarn, fiber, even fabric inspired by this inspiration photo, or even the mood that the photo evokes for you. As long as something about this photo inspired you, it counts. And so share that yarn with me on Instagram using the hashtag ChemKnitsDyeAlong, or look for this inspiration photo on my Facebook page. It should be the pinned comment. I also have a link to the post on my Facebook page in the video description, and reply with a photo comment. And if you don't want to be featured in the ChemKnits Lab Facebook group, there is a thread where you can privately share things in there. Anything shared in the Facebook group is kept private. I won't share anything from there. So yeah, that's how you can participate. And then in the recap, I will feature as many pictures as I can. I know sometimes I probably miss someone. It's not personal if your yarn doesn't end up in. I try to pull as many as I can, but I really appreciate everyone participating and dyeing along with me. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, I'm really excited to, I guess, in the morning film a recap. And well, I guess not the full recap. I'm not going to wash the yarn until the morning. I'm going to let it cool off overnight because yeah, but but I'm really, really excited, and I'm really thankful that you all tuned in tonight to hang out and chat and dye yarn along with me. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and there will be a new episode of something tomorrow. I don't remember if it's, oh, I think it's a Dye Pot Weekly. Ooh, I think it's a good Dye Pot Weekly. Although now I'm confused if this is this week or next week. There's a new video tomorrow morning, and then there will potentially be a new video on Saturday. I just finished editing the Dye Pot PS, and so I will be shortly posting that on Patreon with the newsletter. And by shortly, I mean I need to write the newsletter, so probably on Saturday, which means that last month's Dye Pot PS will then be publicly available for everyone, and it's a self-striping technique, so it is a lot of fun. So that video will be public soon. Yeah, and that's all I'm gonna say for now. Yeah, my social media handles and everything are all in the video description, along with, again, Patreon and my Etsy shop and things like that. And yeah, I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!